What's my cue?
Hey bestie, it's Kati Wasserman. I am a mom, an esthetician, the owner of Flagstaff Skincare Med Spa, and Prickly Bear Skincare, a post hair removal line. I started Beauty Talk Confessions because honestly, I got tired of how fake the beauty industry can feel. The conversations that happen between wax strips, peels, and facials that no one ever talks about publicly, we are gonna go there. So grab your coffee, get comfy, and let's peel back the layers, one confession at a time. Welcome to Beauty Talk Confessions, where the secrets come out and the glow gets real. Welcome back to Beauty Talk Confessions. I'm Kati Wasserman, and I'm here today with Amanda Luisa. She is the owner of Beach House Skincare and Spa, and I am so excited to have Amanda on today. We have known each other for about 3 years working in a program together, and I am just excited for her to be on here and share her story. Thank you so much for being on here today, Amanda.
Thank you so much, Kati. I'm really excited to talk to you and to share my story.
I am too. Well, we were just discussing and talking a little bit before starting this recording, and I love Amanda's story, and I can't wait for you all to hear it. But something that I would love to dive into is you recently became a mom, but not recently. You recently became a second baby. You now have 2 kids under 2. So I'd love to hear how owning a business and just in the last few years, what has kind of transitioned becoming a mom to a second baby.
Oh gosh. So it's been very challenging. I will start by saying that it's been extremely rewarding, but very, very difficult. The most difficult thing I have done in my entire life is having kids, and especially 2 under 2. It was not planned that way, but it was a wonderful surprise. And they are so wonderful, but finding the time to manage a business and a 2-year-old and a now 8-month-old, it's a lot of work, and I've had to do a lot of self-reflection to figure out what's my number one priority. And recently, the thing that I think has helped me the most is figuring out what is sustainable. So whenever I do something, I will always ask myself before I do it, is this sustainable? So is it something that I know I can keep doing again and again and again, almost like on autopilot? And if I can, then I keep doing it. And if I can't, then it's just a very easily broken loop that I need to fix, basically, because I do not have time to do anything that is going to cost me or it's just gonna make my life more difficult, right? So I've just started doing a lot, just kind of almost not reevaluating, but just kind of figuring out what is going to be the best thing to do that will withstand time, right? An example at home is I always make sure that when there are dishes in the sink, it's just best to wash them. I never understood that when my parents did that. And I'm like, gosh, they're so uptight that they're always trying to get it's okay to have dirty dishes. And while, yeah, it's okay to have dirty dishes, but I will tell you what, you put one dirty dish and you leave it in there, and now there's 25, and it's just overrunning your kitchen. It's just insane. And now I always clean the dishes, and I get it now.
Yep.
At work, another thing at the spa, I'm always trying to make sure that we stick to our SOPs, we stick to our routines, because it is going to be what makes my life easier. It's going to make the other team members' lives easier, and it's just worth it to continue doing that regular routine because it is sustainable and you can keep doing it long term. So,
oh my gosh, totally. Well, I mean, kind of jumped in there, but I would love to hear a little bit more about your story and your foundation and what started you off in the beauty industry.
Yeah. So when I was in college, I grew up in California and I went to college right after high school because it was like the thing that you do. And, it's what our parents did. And before I went into college, I had actually asked to go to cosmetology school. I was like, I really want to do this. And my parents were like, no, that's not a good career. Like you need to be a lawyer or a doctor or like something else, not a hairstylist, which at the time I thought I wanted to be. And so I was like, okay. So I went to school and I love helping people. So I was like, okay, let's go on the doctor route. And so I did, all the pre-med things like I thought I was supposed to do. And while I did that, so I joined a sorority and I had one of my sisters was like, hey, do you know how to cut hair? We both had the same major. And so we were studying and we needed a break. And she's like, do you know how to cut hair? I don't have time to go get my hair cut. And I also don't want to pay for one because, we're broke college kids, right? So, and I'm like, I don't, but I can YouTube it.
Oh my gosh.
And I'd always cut my own bangs. So I like figured it out that way. And I was like, let's do it. It took me 2 hours to cut this girl's hair. And it was like the most basic, like something that I eventually learned how to do in like under 15 minutes. It took me over 2 hours. So I did it. And at the time I worked at the gym, the campus gym. And so I was that person, like when you first walk in and you scan your card and like you make sure that they actually attend the college and they can go in. Well, a girl comes in, she scans her card, she's good to go. She comes up to me and I'm thinking, oh, maybe she needs a towel or something, She's like, hey, are you Amanda? And I was like, yeah. Mm-hmm. She's like, do you cut Katie's hair the other, and it's funny, my sister's name was Katie also. But she was like, you got Katie's hair, right? And I was like, yes. And she's like, oh, okay, it's really good. How much do you charge?
Oh my gosh.
And I was like,
her haircut? That's amazing.
I was like, think. Like all I could in my head, I was like, $10. And so that began my haircutting career in college. Totally not legal for anyone listening. Don't do that. Get your license. Okay. But, I did it and I just winged it. And
that's amazing.
I am 100% was 100% self-taught. I actually ended up getting such a solid clientele that I made more money cutting hair. And I cut hair, I did brows, I did nails.
Okay. Oh my gosh.
I increased my prices, obviously. And I did it at home. There was a charge if I went to their house, and it just grew into this thing where I was like basically the go-to beauty person on campus. And they would come to my house and I would cut their hair, the same haircut for everyone. Okay.
Oh my God. That's like your known haircut. I love that though.
It was. And everyone, curly hair, straight hair, long hair, short hair, everyone wanted it. And then someone trusted me with like coloring their hair. I was like, oh boy, that's bad. That was a terrible thing. Anyways, so that was crazy. So anyways, when I graduated, I had a full clientele. And I was making more from doing that than my 2 jobs combined. So I had 3 jobs. One was cutting hair, and I made more cutting hair than I did from the other 2 jobs combined. So I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to go to cosmetology school now. So I went to cosmetology school. I graduated 2 months earlier than anyone else in the history of the school had.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so I graduated really fast. This was all in California still. Then I moved to Illinois because my now husband got a job here.
Okay.
And so, and I needed to take my state board still. And I had no money. I literally was living off of credit cards. They were maxed out. I had no money. And I ended up calling this like uncle that I had never talked to. I hadn't talked to in like over a decade. And I was like, can you please buy me a plane ticket? And he bought me this like $164 plane ticket. It was a 24-hour round trip. So I flew in to Los Angeles, took the exam there, and I rented all the things that I needed to get.
Yeah.
And then I got back on the plane and I flew back. And if I had not passed right then, like, then I wouldn't have my license.
Oh my God. So that's so stressful.
Oh, so stressful. And so, but you know what? Like I had to, and I winged it again and I like figured it out. And so then I came back to Illinois, and then I had my license transferred here, and then I started working locally in a spa. And at first I thought I wanted to do hair, but I realized like I want something that's not so like I'm an introvert at heart. Like I'm a very extroverted introvert. And so I wanted something that was going to be like still very grounded, but not sacrificing my love for, this industry. And so I was like, let's try out, the spa and see. And so I went into the spa that I was getting my stuff done at. And I was like, what are you guys doing? Or like, what can I do? What can I do? Like, can I do this? Like with you guys, I will sweep your floors. Like I will do anything. Like, please let me work here with you guys.
Yeah.
And so the owner at the time, or she's still the owner now, but she at the time needed help with marketing. And I was like, great. She was like, do you know anything about marketing? And I was like, think. I was like, yes. Why not? Sure. Of course. Yes, I do. And I went home and I watched every single marketing thing that I could think of in regards to spa. And I like figured it out. I figured it out again. And I helped get her spa booked. She eventually, when there was space to bring on another esthetician, she brought me on. I got completely booked within maybe like 6 months.
Amazing.
And I met the most incredible woman there. She was my coworker, and she one day came up and she taught me so much. Like she taught me everything about aesthetics that I know now. She is still to this day like the smartest esthetician I know, because she is always learning and always like just wanting to improve herself. And I just admire that about her so much. And then one day she came up to me. She's like, hey, I think I'm going to go rent a room, because we were employees at the time. And I was like, oh, okay. She's like, you want to do it with me?
Oh my God.
I was like, sure. Here we go. I don't know how to own a business. Let's go. Let's do it. I'm figuring it out again. And so, we left and we did that. And so like we both outgrew the room within a year.
Okay.
And so she went off and did her own thing. I went off and did the beach house, which is what I own now. And I opened in Halloween of 2019 was the first day I took a client there. And then 6 months later, the world shut down.
Yeah.
With COVID. And luckily I had just sent an offer letter to a possible esthetician, and she turned me down. And I was so devastated. I remember thinking like, oh my gosh, like the very first person I offer a job to and she says no, like who turns down a job? And I was like, wait a second, Amanda, don't get on your high horse about this. And I'm so glad that she turned me down, because 2 weeks later, everything shut down.
Yeah.
And I would not have known what to do.
Yeah.
And so it was just crazy. And we got through COVID. And when I opened up again, I was so slammed, just like everyone else. So slammed. So I hired, and that was in 2020. And I have hired 9 times since then. And some people have stayed, some people have gone because of their own choice or not. They are no longer a part of my team. And now I have a team of estheticians. I have a virtual assistant, a biz ops assistant, and like I think that's a big reason why I was able to go on maternity leave twice and still pay myself and kind of ease myself back into the spa when I was ready and had the capacity for it again.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's a great story. And that's so cool to see the full circle of starting in hair, being told by your parents, different direction, and then having the universe really kind of show you that that was your path and having all this confirmation from everybody else. And even though you were only doing one haircut, the fact that you were able to build a book, like your books and everything like that, that's amazing.
It's so crazy to me. I look back and I cringe because I'm like, oh my gosh, like I could have learned anything else. But it's okay.
Well, it really speaks for itself where you were really the driving force of that. People were paying for you. And yes, the haircut was the service, but they were really looking to connect and see you and pay for that, which I love.
Yeah. It was good. It was a very good experience. I loved it.
That's awesome.
Quick pause before we keep going. If you're enjoying this episode, make sure to follow Beauty Talk Confessions and show some love by leaving a quick review or rating, and share this with someone you think you would enjoy it. That's how the space grows. This episode is sponsored by Prickly Bear Wax and Skincare, launching this summer. You can join our email list at pricklybear.com, BARE, to get early updates and pre-launch discounts. All right, back to the conversation.
When you did open your space and you transitioned from that one room that you joined with that woman that left with you, or you guys kind of joined together, how the space that you are at now, was that the space that you transitioned to and that is now the Beach House Skincare, or did it take a few different locations to find the one that you're in now?
So I looked at a lot of spaces. So what ended up happening with the other gal, her name's Megan, and she's actually one of the estheticians that is on my team. So we actually reconnected later.
That's amazing.
And I know that's a fun story too. But so we both rented this room. She went out on her own, and then I was able to expand my hours. And then I think 6 months later, I couldn't stay in the space anymore.
Yeah.
So I ended up getting this other location, but that I knew I was very specific on what I wanted. I knew that I wanted a location in the back of a building. I wanted it to be an office space, not a retail space. And I knew that I wanted to have at least 3 rooms. And so I had this vision of what I wanted, and I went in and I looked at a lot of different places. And I just got really lucky with the place that I have now. The then owners were very easy to negotiate with. They gave me pretty much anything I asked for. They redid the whole space to accommodate that.
Wow.
And I took a risk and I signed a 5-year lease, but it was a pretty big building, and I talked to a lot of other tenants first. And I did this with a lot of places that I was looking at, and the place I'm in now, I signed another 5-year lease, I think like 2 years ago or something like that. And so, and I have the opportunity to do that again. Once this lease is up, I could sign another 5-year at the same rate if I wanted to, but that was something that I negotiated into my original contract. So at the end, I'll have been there for 15 years, which is insane to think about. If I wanted to, that's actually not what I hope to do one day, but if it's there if I want it. So yeah, I ended up just being really picky about where I wanted to go, and I was on a month-to-month rental of the room that I had. So I knew that like I could go at any time.
That's the best.
I know. And so like I just let myself I just took my time. I knew what I wanted. Because I knew I wanted to like grow a team. And so, yeah, I just found a space that I liked, and I've been there ever since.
That's great. And so this space you signed, was this the space that you signed right before COVID happened, or did you? Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to, yeah. Okay. Crazy. So you found that space, you signed it. And then how long did it take before you were able, you said about 6 months to hire your first hire. So pretty much right after COVID, like once there was that crazy flux and overflow. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. So yeah, I got into this space, and I actually had been looking for another esthetician, and I put out an offer to somebody, and they turned it down before we had to shut down. So I was already looking for someone and already interested in finding help.
Okay. And so when you did find this help, how did it look like bringing her on? Was she already taking clients? Was she somebody that you had to kind of teach your ways? Was it an easy transition for you?
So I hired 2 people. I needed the help desperately. I think I was working 6, sometimes 7 days a week in the spa. Yeah, hands on. I think I was doing like close to 70 hours, something like that. It was really, really, really hard.
Yeah.
Still, having kids is harder, I will say.
Yeah. Yeah, but doing that and then having the business, it's not just 70 hours. You were doing 70 hours, and then you still had to do the marketing. And also, even though you at first were just the only employee, there's still payroll, and there's all of the taxes and all of the things that people don't really realize, I feel like, going into business. I know I kind of knew it, but I was a little blindsided by some of the things where it was like, oh my gosh, and there's this much to do. There's always something.
It's true. Yeah, there's so much that goes into a business, and it's really not even well, it's I think the hardest thing that, at least that I have found, and it's so kind of jumping the gun here, but like my most recent hires were 2 estheticians that owned their own solo business.
Okay.
And they came to me. One of the girls is the one that I shared the room with originally. But they both came to me and they were like, Amanda, I am not meant to be a business owner. This is way too hard. It's way more difficult than I ever thought.
Wow.
Because of, the marketing, but more so basically the money part of it. It's really hard to know what to say yes to and what to say no to until you've gone through it. And sometimes the thing you say yes to is just so big that it breaks the business. And so, and that's not always the case, but if you say yes to a lot of little things, for example, like saying yes to, more back bar or more like a whole new skincare line or a new machine or all these things, right? You just think, oh, it's $1,000 here, $2,000 there, but those things add up. And then eventually you're like, oh my gosh, like, where's all my money? Yeah. And then a big bill comes along, like you have to pay this, you have to pay the rent, you have to pay XYZ, whatever it is, and you have to pay it. And it hurts the business owner because there wasn't just like a good management of the cash flow. And I find that is something that a lot of spa owners like secretly struggle with. Just like this quiet stress about money and how to take home money, like a thing. So I used to be a coach, and I would coach with like a very well-known coach in our industry. And that's actually how you and I met, Katie, is through Daniela Warner is her name. And so I used to be on her team, and I would talk to a lot of spa owners one-on-one about their business. And like a huge thing, I would say almost every single time I talked to someone for the first time, they were not paying themselves. And so, or if they were, it was like just barely the bare minimum. And so, the two girls that I had hired, they most recently, they said that basically they just weren't paying themselves. It's an expensive hobby. And back to your original question, it is, or actually, I actually don't remember what the original question was.
It was bringing them on. Well, you kind of explained it with these girls because they had already had their own space. So you didn't have to really train them into your kind of program, the way your style is. You probably did have some refreshers, but with most of your staff, they were kind of already experienced a little bit in the industry.
Yeah. So these two, the most recent, yes, they were both very experienced, like over a decade of experience for both of them. And so that was very minimal training. But everyone before that, which was, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 7 other estheticians I had hired, all of them were fresh out of school. Well, I'm sorry, there was one person that was not fresh out of school, but she didn't come with a client base.
Yeah.
But she came with experience, but not like as much experience as I would like.
Yeah.
And so I did have to train everyone, and I did have to but I kind of liked it at that time. That's what I wanted. I wanted to mold these people the way that I wanted them to do the services, to do it the way that I want them to do it. And I like that. And but now I have these two other gals that just joined, and they have their own way of doing things, but I've taught them the way that I do things. And we've actually been able to improve the service to a higher level because we're combining their method with our method.
That's awesome.
And so, and I think it's just like, as long as you're willing to talk to the esthetician, as long as they're okay to like learn and grow, which most people in this industry are.
Yeah.
You know? And so as long as you're able to like talk to them and get their input and show them how you do things, it actually ends up being like a really, really awesome combination of everything.
I love that. Well, and I feel like finding someone and something that I connected with you when I was able to work with you in Growth Factor was the community and the values that you've created. And we've talked about that. And I feel like with your story, it's true to you that you had those values, and almost in a serendipitous way, that person that did apply, but COVID happened, they probably didn't have your values, and the universe just had to show you that. And then now creating a team, but then allowing at this point, timeline wise, to have people come and grow your team is really cool to see that they're able to bring that in. Because sometimes with a newbie, it's hard to give them all of that information, and having them take it on and then constructively adjusting it with somebody other methods and things like that.
Yeah.
Well, that's amazing. With this 5-person team and all the leadership that you've been through, what do you feel like has been like one of the driving forces that you've learned through this community and the importance of leadership?
There's so much. I think that the biggest thing, and this might just be a me thing, but I think it's common to be like, a lot of us are people pleasers, right?
Yeah.
And so I think when I to answer your question, being a leader has made me more direct, more clear, more confident in what I'm saying. And and I still struggle with this but I felt like when I was being direct or when I was being clear, I was being mean. But you can say things kindly, but you can also say them clearly, like
Yeah.
Brene Brown, clear is kind. And so I think that as I got more confident, and also I also learned that people want direction. Like
Yes.
if they wanted to run the show, they would go do this themselves. And just like us, and
Yeah.
the thing is like I needed to step into the role of the leader and say what I want. And it can be very collaborative still. Like I can say, oh gosh, I don't know. I think so. What I like to do is I like to bring my team in on things because it almost like gets buy-in, So I'll say, okay, my thing that I always tell my girls is I always want it to be bougie, but I want it to be boring. So like nobody likes a chaotic work environment, but everybody loves the luxury of bouginess, right? And so I'm like, how can we make it high level, top experience, but make it so sustainable and repeatable that it's boring?
Yeah.
Right? Because we need to be able to do it while we multitask, and we need to be able to do it when maybe we're not feeling good that day, right? And if it's boring, we can repeat it over and over again.
Yeah.
And so I bring them into it. I'm like, ooh, okay, here are the things that I'm thinking of. What's your opinion? And so like bringing them in because I almost like just give people parameters on my team. I'm like, I want it to be this, but not that. And over here, I don't want it to go too far, but I need it to be this way. And like, so that's kind of what I think like as a leader.
Yeah.
That's like how I've stepped into being a leader is being confident in my decisions, and then also like calling people out, and I feel like even that phrase is too strong, like not calling people out in the sense of like, I don't like that you did that. No. I mean more like, oh, that doesn't really sit right with me. Can we try something else? Or and you say it just like you would say anything else.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. It's something that I'm connecting to is we work together. And I remember a one-on-one when I was in a pivotal point in my spa. I think I was just pregnant or maybe just was getting pregnant, but I was transitioning on how to get clear with my team. I was in a very toxic space that I wasn't comfortable enough confronting. And you were so amazing when we talked because you gave me this analogy of, well, I don't know if it's an analogy, but you're like, instead of taking out some of the emotion, but still having it, but coming to your staff and talking to them as this is the job position you applied for, but you are doing A, B, and C. So let's break down the job position that you applied for and take out some of these things. And for me, it was like, I don't know, a light bulb for some reason where I was able to still be their friend, but voice it where, okay, we're in this meeting. We're going to now sit down and I need to do this so I can show up as a business owner and give you the opportunity to be the best employee you can be and also do the job that you want to do. And so that was something like I feel you helped me be so clear, and hearing you talk about it, like that's been something that you're very clear about. And then I also really like where you voice that you give them like an option of A, and B. And I feel like as a mom with kiddos, you don't ever want to give them an option that you're not okay with. And so as a business owner, you have to be okay with both of those options. And I love that way of it.
You're so right. I never thought of it that way, but you're absolutely right. Like, do you want to put on your left shoe or your right shoe first? Like, both answers are acceptable. You're so right. I didn't
give
think
a little
about
ownership, but still in the direction we want it to be.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think that what you talked about with your team is so normal. And I think it's just like a normal way of thinking. Like, you obviously don't want to make people upset, but I think something we forget is that people want you to give them not constraints, but it's almost like parameters or like guidelines of
Yeah.
like the boundaries in which they can work, because then they know how far they can go. And I think that, we all want to be challenged a little bit, not in like a bad way, but just like in a growth way. And
Yeah.
so when you give your team the opportunity to grow while staying within the bounds of their job description, I think it makes them happy. I mean, that's what I've seen on my team, and they love to be a part of it too.
Yeah, I agree. When there's a definite person and there's someone, and I've seen them all, and I'm sure you have employing people, but there's a drive where you give them that constructive criticism and they immediately are wanting to do better. And it's like, oh, okay, I didn't hit this number for my product sales to service sales. Now, next month, I'm going to do that much better. And then there's that person that's like, oh, well, I'm never going to be good or do good. And I feel like as an employer, I've been in both positions. And when you take it on as this is a driving force to do better and show you what you can do, you really are able to be unstoppable versus kind of having it shut you down. And I'm not like this person doesn't like me. And at the end of the day, it's we want the best for you and we all want the best for ourselves. So it's how do we get to that point? And there is a level of skill, but also industry standard that we have to be doing to be able to serve people better.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Well, I would love to know. So after 8 years in the industry and going from coaching and having a spa, what are you doing right now? We were talking a little bit. You've taken a step back from coaching with Daniela to focus more on being a mom, which I'm so happy for you. But what are you kind of working on right now?
Yeah, so I adore Daniela and her team, and in May of 2024 I did take a step back from working on Team Addo, and I really just focused on my spa and my kiddo, because at the time I only had one. And it was just, it was that first baby was really hard. Where, like I mentioned, like I moved from California to Illinois, and we have no one around, like not even in the same time zone. So like, we just had no way of getting help unless we paid someone to help us. And so I was like, okay, I need to make more money so that I can afford to get help. And so that's what I focused on. And at the same time, I had to stay because I was doing everything myself. And my husband, is very supportive, but he has a full-time job. And my job, because I created it, was much more flexible. And so I created like a lot more flexibility in my schedule. That and then so not just the flexibility, but I also took that time. It was about a year and a half of time to really maximize my team. So I went through all of our numbers and I basically cleaned house. And I was like, if you cannot hit your numbers in the next 90 days, I'm going to be removing a shift. And I did that. And some people, read the room and they excused themselves from the team. Other people needed to be excused. And so it was a huge time, and it's insane too. It's funny because my very last day working with Daniela was also the day that I had my biggest I don't even know my biggest business moment. Because later that day, I ended up letting a team member go, my lead esthetician, actually.
Oh my gosh.
Because she was stealing. And she had been stealing from me for over a year and a half. And I didn't know. And so I took the time.
Oh my gosh.
And that's when I found out about that, I was like, okay, I need to, I'm not paying attention to this enough. And so I realized that. And so I had to like basically reorganize my life. And part of it meant that I had to stop coaching, even though it's something I'm very, very passionate about. And I love what Daniela stands for. And her and I are still very good friends and we still talk very regularly. But I just needed to really focus on my, at the time, 8-month-old, or maybe like, yeah, he was 8 months, and my business. And so, I let some people go, some people let themselves left on their own. And I have now been able to create this team that I feel like I've set really clear expectations for. And I'm really happy about that. And I'm making more than I ever have. And I also made the decision like, okay, I think I have a little bit more capacity now. I think I want to start coaching again. And so, but I also knew like I couldn't commit to more than like 2 or 3 hours a week.
Yeah.
And that's okay. This is just like a really fun side project, which a lot of, CEO visionary owners, I'm sure, have a lot of those side projects like you do. And so, I started a podcast and it went live in April of this year. We're in 2025. And I haven't missed a week since. It's been so much fun. I honestly have had so much fun. And I named it Bougie and Boring because I wanted to have
Bougie and Boring.
I wanted it to be bougie and boring. And so, and which, by the way, naming a podcast is so hard. Like
oh my gosh. Yeah.
Why is this so hard? So I was like, you know what, Amanda, you just need to keep it bougie and boring. And then I was like, all right, that's what we're naming this. And so I did. But yeah, it just kind of happened where this woman that I was working with, she was helping me with my acne clients. She was my acne coach. And she was helping me with like some really tough cases of acne that I just could not break through. And she was like, yeah, I can help you. And she did. And it was phenomenal. And she's like, I don't actually coach on acne, right? I coach solos to hit 6 figures. And I was like, oh, no, I didn't know that. She's like, but you don't need that. You have a team. Like, you don't need any of that.
Yeah.
But I'm just so glad I could help. But can I refer people to you?
Oh, amazing.
That want to build a team. And at the time I'm like, oh, no, I don't do that. Like, I don't do that. You can, talk to some other people that I know in the industry. Like, and she's like, you should really do it. You should really do it. And then I was like, okay, I think sure. So I'd give them my email and I started talking to some people and they were like, what do I do now? What do I do now? And then and just like that girl at the gym, how much do you charge?
That's amazing.
Think. I was like, and so, and that's just kind of how it started. And then finally, I thought, and actually in our Facebook group that we have, I actually talked about it in one of those like mastermind calls. I was like, I'm thinking about starting a podcast because I already had those coaching clients that I was helping. And everyone was like, do it. And so that's what I've been working on ever since. So I've got a little handful of coaching clients. I'm doing the podcast and that's really all I have capacity for. I don't want to do any social media. I don't want to do like any extra things, but I'm having so much fun. And that's the part I love, is that I'm having fun doing it. So
yeah,
that's what I'm working on now. Yeah.
That's amazing. I love that.
Thanks.
Amazing. Well, this
Thank
has
you.
been such a great conversation. I would love to know, and our listeners would love to know, where can they follow you, find you, hear a little bit more, follow the podcast and everything like that?
Yeah. So as I mentioned, I don't have social media, not for the podcast, or like any of the coaching stuff. And I only allow people to follow us that are local to the spa that I own. But honestly, like the best thing would be, if you're an esthetician or any type of like spa owner or in the beauty industry, you can follow Bougie and Boring, which is my spa business podcast. And then I also have a website, amandaluisaconsulting.com. And those are the best places to get a hold of me. And we can continue conversations over there.
Amazing. That's great.
Thank you so much for having me, Katie.
Yeah. Thank you. This was wonderful. It was nice also hearing your official story because we've connected so much, but you've always been great in allowing me to kind of voice my story. And so it's been really nice hearing your story.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, I'm so glad that I could share it. It's a long one, but it's been fun.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, this is perfect.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Good.
Thank you so much for being a part of this space and for listening to today's episode of Beauty Talk Confessions. I wanted to take a moment and recognize our amazing sponsors, Prickly Bear, a desert-curated post-hair removal skincare line with pre- and post-care products created to support healthy skin beyond the treatment room, launching this summer. If this conversation resonated with you, make sure to follow the show and share it with someone in the beauty industry. Staying connected is how we grow, learn, and support each other. You can also follow us on Instagram at Beauty Talk Confessions and Prickly Bear for updates, behind the scenes, and more conversations like this. And if you have a moment, leaving a review helps this podcast reach more people who need this conversation too, and it would mean the world to me. This is Beauty Talk Confessions, and I'll see you next week.